For 5 years now, Operation Freedom Bird has taken veterans of the war in Vietnam to Washington, D.C. to visit the Vietnam War Memorial. The America West Airlines sponsored program has taken over 200 veterans to see the wall, where names of those who died in Vietnam are inscribed. Tonight, Dave Marquis joins us from Washington, where he is with the men who will make this year's visit.
Lynn Sue, first of all, I'd just like to give everyone a chance to listen to something for a moment.
Dwight Dawson Johnson, William Wayne Johnson.
Now, what you are hearing is the reading of the names, the more than 58,000 American war dead who are inscribed here on the wall in Vietnam. You know, even before we left Phoenix, our taxi cab driver this morning wanted to know, were we coming out here to cover the wall? And we told him yes, we were, and he said, well, please remember me. I was in the 101st Airborne, served 8 months in Vietnam. You begin to realize just how many lives have been touched by this wall. But before we left Phoenix, we did talk to 2 men who are on their way here for the first time in a pilgrimage to see this wall.
These are some of the names of the guys that died and the war daddy fought in.
20 years after his time in Vietnam, Larry Bluer is still trying to answer the questions.
See all the names?
Yeah.
Every name here is a man that died during the war.
Oh.
There's a lot of names, huh?
There's a lot of names.
My little boys, they just asked a question little boys ask. Were you in the war, Daddy? Did you kill anybody? Did you lose any friends?
For the former combat engineer and sniper with the 1st Air Cavalry, the hardest question is the last one, about the friends who were there one day and then gone.
I feel like there's a lot of force in that wall, and I have some friends that I lost. And it's a fearful thing because I never got to say goodbye to them when they died, and that's just something I've been afraid of ever since I first heard about the wall.
When you lose friends in country, the first thing they'd put them on a chopper and air vac them out. You wouldn't see or hear of them after that.
Jack Williams served with the Brownwater Navy, a gunner's mate on swift boats in the Mekong Delta. For years, he ran from the memories.
In 1 year, the IRS audited me. I had 11 W-2s from 9 different states. So I'd done a lot of moving, a lot of running and hiding is what I look at it now as being.
Like Larry, he knows he will soon face all of the memories.
I'm just really leery of what feelings I will have when I get to the wall.
Have you thought about anything to take along with you to leave at the wall?
Yeah, I wrote a letter.
They served in different times, in different places. Now they will go back together to a war they have never left.
And I hope this does bring it full circle. I know it'll help tremendously. I believe that honestly.
Well, I told him about this trip to the wall, that Daddy had to go back to say goodbye to some friends, and that it was important for me.
Now, I think Larry summed it up the best for almost all of those who are coming out to see the wall for the first time. He said, I don't know which I feel more of, fear or excitement. I think that really describes what these men are feeling as they come out here to see the wall.
Dave, are they all coming out to see the wall for the very first time, or are some going back again?
Only a couple have seen the wall before. For most of these men, and this is what makes it so tough, this is the first time that they are going to see the wall, and for many of them, the first time to confront the men that they lost when they were in Vietnam and have never, in many cases, really dealt with completely through the years, and here they will face it directly.
Okay, we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you, Dave.
For more than a dozen Arizona veterans tonight marks their first visit to the wall in Washington, D.C. As Dave Marquis reports, they joined others at the wall to share their lives and memories with friends living and others long gone.
Ralph Voss, Lester Timothy Walker.
Beside the Vietnam War Memorial, Peoria Navy veteran Jack Williams searches for names of friends he remembers. Men who left on medevac helicopters. Friends he never had a chance to say goodbye to.
I was able to locate a couple of names tonight. It wasn't hard to come here. It was just a lot of fear involved with it. And then as I come to the wall, the closer I got, the more you could feel the power that's in the wall. At night with the green lights all down through there, it's quite moving. It's real moving.
For some, there is relief and comfort here. Others find memories still too painful to face.
We came as a unit. We try to stay together and to support one another. And there's comfort in that.
For Jack, the wall has already become a place of comfort.
This is like a safe haven here. We can let our emotions go here. We don't have to keep a front up for anyone. this is for us here.
Welcome home, bro. And it was not going to be easy again.
It's a welcome that we never really actually received, and I've never experienced anything like this before, and it's something that I'll cherish the rest of my life.
The weather here is brisk and cold, but people stay late into the night, mingling, talking, meeting old friends, and making new ones, going back over 20 years of time and memory. At the Wall in Washington, Dave Marquis, 12 News Tonight.
The veterans' trip to the memorial is sponsored by America West Airlines through Operation Freedom Bird.
Tomorrow marks the 10th anniversary of the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. On this Veterans Day week, thousands who served in the Vietnam War and their friends and families are paying their respects, many for the first time. Tonight we join our Dave Marquis live at the Wall for more on that story. Dave?
Well, Bruce, this is the second day for that very special group of veterans, men and women who are from Ohio, New Mexico, and from Arizona, who are a part of Operation Freedom Bird, being sponsored by America West Airlines. And they are here in Washington because 20 years later, many of them are still being haunted by the ghosts of Vietnam, by names like those being read here behind me at the Wall in Washington, D.C., of those who died in the Vietnam War. And as a part of their healing process, they have been given the opportunity to come here and spend 3 days at the Wall.
John Wilson, Antonio Lopez Aljo, Robert Louis Atkinson, Jr.
I found out that my life wasn't the way it was because of just life, that it was because of things that happened in Vietnam.
John Edwards. Kenneth.
Every time they say Lawrence, I expect them to say my last name.
Larry Allen Gillespie. Willie Frank Green.
Is that right? Don't name it all. Oh, I know it's there. I look along the list and there's so many names that sound familiar, but I don't remember his name. I can remember his face like it was yesterday.
Rolando G. Gabriel.
At the Battle of Con Thien, Navy medic David Gibbon was his platoon's only survivor.
These are your war ribbons awarded to you for giving your life at the Battle at Con Thien, South Vietnam, September 7th, 1967. You will never see them. You will never wear them. But you deserve them, and I thought you should have them.
Charles
From this man right here
Jr., Dale William.
The wall is set up so that the men that served together, who died together, stay together on the wall.
This man right here is my company.
So when I come to the wall, it's a reunion, not a goodbye, because it's the only place I can go to be with everybody.
Larry Allen Smith.
From a friend, a name for Larry taken at random from the Wall.
Now I got somebody. I got somebody.
Larry Wayne Knox.
Daniel Irvin.
Now, Operation Freedom Bird is named after the nickname that the GIs coming back from Vietnam gave the airplanes that they flew back on. They called them Freedom Birds as they came back to the United States. Now, tomorrow, 4 members of this group of veterans is going to be able to lay a wreath in honor of the Vietnam War dead after the Veterans Day Parade, which will bring them down Pennsylvania Avenue to the Wall here near the river in Washington, D.C.
Dave, we often hear from these vets that, yes, it's very difficult to go back, but it's also very rewarding in the sense of kind of a healing process.
You know, it's really both. For some, this is a moment of closure where they really kind of finalize their healing process as much as they can. But for others, as you could see in that tape we showed you, it is really a beginning, finally beginning to really face some of these ghosts that have haunted them all of these years, and hopefully that it will lead to a fuller recovery from their memories and their pain.
Okay, Dave, good story. Thanks.
From a war that tore us apart to a wall that draws us back together. Today in Washington, veterans of the America West-sponsored Operation Freedom Bird joined 1,000 other veterans marching down Constitution Avenue to the Vietnam War Memorial. That's where Dave Marquis joins us live on this very emotional day. Dave?
Lynn Sue, steady drizzle of rain today has not stopped a steady stream of visitors here to the Wall, taking a moment to mark names from the Wall and have brief moments of remembrances. Earlier today, very emotional, as there was an address by former hostage Terry Anderson and then a surprise visit and address by Vice President-elect Al Gore. It meant a great deal to the veterans, but not as much as the earlier chance they had to share together, to hug one another, to shed tears as they marched here to the Wall at the Capitol. To the sound of drums in a chill wind, the veterans of Operation Freedom Bird stepped into the early morning streets of Washington, many for their first parade.
This is thrilling. I haven't marched in a parade in a year, probably since I was a kid in high school. But now for the first time I feel like marching and express my happiness of being home with all my vet brothers.
Good morning, Arizona! Thank you for coming! We love you too!
For one day, it was a great feeling to take center stage in Washington.
I don't know, but I've been told.
We're having a lot of fun back here.
Women vets don't get real old.
It looks like they closed the street off. We can have a party in the street. It's our party. And I can cry if I want to.
You had a unit nobody liked. They didn't want to feed you Thanksgiving dinner one time years ago. You feel a little bit better today?
Yeah, I'll say been a long, hard trip, but we're getting there.
It's been a long time since this country said thanks.
These guys did a lot for our country that we remember. And maybe other people don't, but we do.
With all the thanks and the love and the appreciation we're getting here, sometimes I just feel like it's too late. I don't care anymore. But I am tired of apologizing for being a Vietnam vet. I'd like to think that I can come back here every 3 or 4 years just to recommit myself to my healing and not forgetting, but putting it in its perspective and trying to get on with whatever there is in my life to do.
Now, for many veterans, it is still a day-to-day struggle, and the speakers here today outlined very different views of the war in some cases, but there was agreement among them and, of course, among all of the veterans here that Americans need to look ahead to a different view of the Vietnam veteran than some have had in the past, that the new administration as well needs to support the Vietnam veteran and provide some of the opportunities they have, in some cases, not been given in the past.
And Dave, a big event tomorrow, a monument, a new monument?
That's right. There will be an unveiling, really, of a model of a monument to the women, the many women who served in Vietnam in non-combat roles, but often under fire as nurses and other things. And that will be a chance for people to see that tomorrow at 10 o'clock here in Washington. Many people very excited about that.
Okay. Thank you, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
It was a solemn Veterans Day this year at the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. As part of Operation Freedom Bird, America West Airlines flew veterans from Arizona, New Mexico, and Ohio to the wall for their very first visit. And as Dave Marquis reports, for those who came, it was a very emotional experience.
I've got buddies on the wall, and you never stop grieving.
Each veteran approaches the wall in his own way. Doc Broomy wrote a poem.
For those of us who knew you, this brief visit is too soon over. This special time will find its place among our memories and remain imprinted forever in our hearts. For we're a family, you and I, as surely as we the issue of one mother and one father. A brotherhood bound in kinship and a spirit that transcends even death.
They are here for each other, for the living, and also for the dead.
But we mourn your passing, and rightly so. You would have us aspire to a higher measure. For it is we, the survivors, who must echo your message in a loud, collective voice, that never, never must this nation, nor another, waste so callously the flower of its youth.
Sorry, Mike. Through all this work and everything, maybe we will make it home.
That's you, Mike.
We ain't home yet, but we're gonna make it.
As Washington skies clouded over and it began to rain, the line at the wall stayed long. The rain only seemed to add to the power and feeling of this Veterans Day.
It cleanses, it heals, and it washes away your footprints, and it's a good sign for us.
In your beginning. We will stand tall. We will stand proud. We will never, never forget. At the wall in Washington, Dave Marquis, 12 News Tonight.
The Arizona veterans who took part in Operation Freedom Bird arrive home tomorrow.
Meanwhile, about 50 Arizona veterans of Operation Freedom Bird returned to Phoenix today after an emotional journey to the wall in Washington, D.C. They spent 3 days at the Vietnam War Memorial as part of the America West-sponsored program. Tonight, Dave Marquis shares their homecoming.
Tired and full of emotion, the veterans of Operation Freedom Bird came home.
On the 11th hour of the 11th day, it started to cloud up, and it started to rain. And it reminded me of the Navajo brother that we took last year. And he said the reason it rains on Veterans Day in Washington is that the warrior gods are with us, and they're also crying.
Many had felt fear at going, fear of the emotion and the memory.
The more I thought about it, I felt like I was letting some of my other vets down. So I did go, experienced it, and I'm just excited to get back home and share some of this with the other vets.
A spiritual rebirth and another chance to get on with their lives.
Veterans of other Operation Freedom Bird flights came to say their own welcome home.
We come home with a new sense of pride. We come home proud Arizona Vietnam veterans. Welcome home.
At Sky Harbor Airport, Dave Marquis, 12 News Tonight.